Yes, 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 yes. Welcome back to the Dragons Den, baby. You already know what we do out in these gaming streets, man. And we have some great guests tonight. One disappeared on us, but he's back and he is arisen from the grave. And we have another one. Classic individual, very classy. And of course, we got PK, the most sexiest guy in the world that wears gators on the block. But with that being said, I see the chat is lit, man. Share this out, like and subscribe, doing all that good stuff. Yes, this is stream number 2 for today. And you know, as us content creators out here, this is the hardest working week. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce this guy, man. He's an excellent individual. That would be my man, Addict. He has his own show, his own world, and his own thoughts. What's good with you, Addict? What's good?
Doing pretty good, man. Like you said, it's been rough out here in these YouTube streets. I was like, because I've been so hyped for the Xbox event, I was like, I gotta have something to distract myself. And when Ratchet and Clank came out, I was like, I didn't initially intend on picking that game up because I was gonna play Final Fantasy, but I was like, I don't even care at this point. Like, it was like, just distract me, man. Like, just distract me.
Yeah, a lot of people think, man, doing this content creation thing we be doing, if we was at E3, it'd be worse because not only have we have to capture all our content, we have to walk around to get it. So this is kind of a vacation for us.
Yeah, and tomorrow's gonna be even worse because that's when the Microsoft show is. Like,
I know we all gonna be lit for that one.
I'm gonna be working pretty much like probably up to like 8 o'clock.
What you got planned tomorrow besides the ILP pop off?
Well, afterwards, I'm probably going to make my own content, and that's going to take a couple hours. So, you know, hopefully it's, well, I don't want to say hopefully it's not too bad. No, hopefully it is bad. I want all the work tomorrow. Let's go. Make so much content, Microsoft, that I'm uncomfortable with the amount of editing and stuff that I have to do.
Biggest part of the job. Then we're going to get to our other guest, man. The Houdini Master is back. Nah, I'm just teasing, my man. This is my guy, Animated Evil, from the Flamish Experience. Been podcasting with him for a good time now. Hopefully, we'll be linking up sometime tomorrow after the Xbox show because it's definitely going to be a very busy podcast weekend for the next 5 days. Animated, what's good with you?
Oh, I am good. It's an absolute pleasure to be on. It's great to meet Mr. Addict, of course. PK, as always. Thank you very much. Excited for tonight. Been watching some stuff, listening to some stuff. Excited to get going.
How you been liking the information that's been dropping in the games you've been seeing so far?
So I've been trying to hide a lot away from the information. To be fair, I don't want anything leaked for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. I'm Xbox like everybody, like everyone around me. I don't want anything to leak before I've seen it. So I've been trying to hide a little bit away from anything like that. What I've seen so far, I've enjoyed the 2 shows I've seen. I've seen I watched the Ubisoft. I watched the Summer Games Fest.
Right.
And need to catch up on Devolver though. But I'm sure we'll get into it.
All right, we got to get into my little brother, man, the most electrifying YouTuber on the planet who brings that heat. What's good with you, PK? This is we working hard today, man. This is a double header. What's good? How you feeling?
Man, let me tell you. First, I want to get it off. PK, the most electrifying man in all entertainment, is right here back, and he is home back on Dragon's Den. I am back and I'm ready. I'm glad. Mr. AKA Excellence of Execution, ready to put the smack down on these candy asses. I'm back and I'm ready and I'm glad to be home. And thanks for the guests for showing up. Glad to be working with you guys. I'm definitely loving the energy. E3 is, like I said on my video, it feels more like Christmas than December. Let's get it.
All right. Before we get into these hot topics and situations, we got to get into the 2 questions I asked with 5 answers. We're going to start off with my boy Addict, man, because I don't really know too much about Addict's gaming past, even though I watch ILP every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, totally lit podcast. I'm tuned in like a crackhead, but it is what it is. Addict, 5 Two questions, 5 answers apiece. I need to know your top 5 games, top 5 consoles of all time, and your top 5 games.
Oh, so I finally get this treatment on another show.
Hey,
Okay,
facts.
I get what you're saying. I can hear this cognito. I gotta say it on someone else's stuff. You should feel ashamed. The top 5 consoles.
Yeah, top 5
Oh
consoles and top
god.
5 series. Like you could say Halo series, God of War series. Like, give me your top 5 franchises and your top 5 consoles of all time.
Well, I'll do the franchises first.
Okay.
Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Mm.
What is a good third one? I can't say Dragon Quest because I've only played one. Yeah, I can't say Dragon
that's kind of a
Quest.
short list.
I like the Dragon Age games. Those are good.
Okay.
Literally
We can go with
11
that.
Dragon Quest.
Let me think here. The Fable franchise
Nice.
and probably the Halo franchise.
Facts. Okay. Consoles.
I have to say the Super Nintendo, the GameCube, the PS2, the 360.
Oh yeah. Revolutionary.
Trying to figure out a fifth one. Is a handheld count?
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
console.
I would say the handhelds. The Nintendo handhelds. The Nintendo handhelds.
Okay. Animated. We going to you with the same question, my brother. 5 top consoles, 5 top series of games. What games is your favorite?
So games, we've got to go in no particular order. Although I'll save the best till last, I think. I've got to agree with Addict with Final Fantasy because, yeah, an old gamer. I grew up with playing a lot of them. Such a difficult question to pick 5. I've been playing since I was 6 years old, man. 6 years old.
Join the club.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's a lot of games to think about. So Final Fantasy. I have to agree with Fable because played everyone and loved it. I can't wait to see the new one that comes out in whenever it comes out.
Okay.
Forza because I'm a really big fan of racing games.
Okay.
2 more, well, 1 more because number 1's done with. The Elder Scrolls series.
Okay.
Definitely the Elder Scrolls series. I mean, Oblivion was fantastic. Got
Amazing.
the full 1,000 on Oblivion. Took me hundreds of hours. Got the full 1,000.
Wow.
Top of the shop has to be Splinter Cell for me.
Okay.
It's my favorite franchise of all time.
So I mean, you've been struggling these past few years, huh?
Yeah, very much so. I know there's not another one coming.
Yo, listen, we got one more chance. Tomorrow, we got one more chance to see if they're going to announce this game that people on Twitter been asking for 5 years. So we got one more chance.
I hold hope deep within my heart we'll get one, but...
Listen, they might be holding out to announce it on Microsoft stage. They might be holding... people keep pushing. So, maybe tomorrow it might happen for you. So that's your top 5 games. What's your top 5 consoles?
So with console love, you've got to with your top 5. I think the first one you own has to be in there. So my first one was the Atari 600 XL. I think it was a 600 XL or 800 XL, the one with the full keyboard. Back in 1987, I want to say something like that. That's what I'm rocking.
Okay,
so that's got to be in there because it was my first thing that got me.
So
into
when they introduced you to the life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got you.
The first game, Baja Boogies, I think, terrible game, but still. Then you've got to go moving up. I think the Mega Drive, the Sega. You call it something different, don't you?
Okay.
You call it something different. The Genesis.
Yeah, it's all the same. We know what it is. We got you.
Yeah. And then probably the Game Boy Color because that was just brilliant. Playing Scooby-Doo on that was just fun.
Very memorable. Facts.
And then we've got the Dreamcast. And
Yeah,
I've
I'm
got to
surprised Addict didn't say that.
And I've got to put.
Actually, I didn't really get into the Dreamcast scenario too much.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, well
I remember my friend Nathan having a Dreamcast, but besides him, like people around here pretty much had PlayStations and Nintendo products. They didn't really have a whole lot of Dreamcast.
And then, last but not least, the 360.
Classic. Let's get it. Let's get it. Round of applause for that, man. And listen, chat, I see y'all all are back in here representing. I appreciate every single body. And before I get anything else, man, I like to thank all my supporters, from my content creators to my gaming community that helped me achieve my goal. I'm officially media status this E3. And y'all should give yourself a round of applause because y'all was absolutely amazing. And y'all been on this journey with me the whole time, man. I did a video, so I'm not going to go and shout out everybody, but I put a video on Twitter and Instagram to show my gratitude for the support that I get here at One Away Dragons, and I definitely appreciate y'all for showing up and supporting. That's the key, especially my content creators. They out here in the streets for me. Now, I got a situation. I got a situation that I'm going to bring up that kind of hit me kind of late. Before we get into the juicy E3 topics, Addict, we're going to start with you.
Hang on, 108. You going to skip over me? I can't tell you my top 5.
You've done it already. Our first episode. You want to do it again?
I want our guests to know. So
okay, you know what? Page. PK, take the floor. Fast. It's on you, brother.
I do it real quick. So I'm going to say my top 5, even though this is difficult. Kind of like what Evil said. My top 5 favorite of all time. Series, right? Franchise.
In no order. Just
in
period.
no order.
Right.
We got Gears.
Ooh.
Legend.
Ooh.
We got Sonic. 30th anniversary Legend.
Ooh.
We got Street Fighter. Years of competing.
That's a fact.
On Legend. And definitely, I know one of ways going ahead. Pokemon is definitely one of my favorite
I'm not
series.
mad at that. No. That's a good
one. And then
one.
I have a tie because it's very difficult. But between Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Persona, all of them hit the same for me. Definitely my favorite. Okay. Kept it short. Favorite consoles for sure. Dreamcast is definitely is one of the ones that changed the game for me. Sega Saturn, definitely one of the ones that changed the game for me. Definitely 360, Xbox 360 definitely changed the game for me. The original Xbox definitely changed the game for me. And right now, series consoles are definitely some of my favorite of all time.
Okay.
Damn, that's just for you, FYI for you guys.
No problem. We got it.
I probably come to think of it, I'd probably have to replace Dragon Age with Zelda.
Oh,
I don't even know why I said Dragon Age when Zelda was around.
Yeah, facts.
Damn.
All right, so we're gonna get into
You were on the spot. You were on the spot.
We're gonna get into this first juicy news, man, and we're gonna start with Addict with this one, I guess. Maybe nobody else may have found this out on the panel, but I want to know your thoughts that Godfall has officially been announced for August release on the PlayStation 4 platform. Now, we know Sony wasn't straight up with what they was planning to do, and they act like certain games wasn't going to make it, and they didn't want to talk about the PS4 version. And I always tell people, with 100 million consoles out there, I don't think it's wise to forget that many people and players. So, Addict, man, what do you feel about this?
Felt like those PS5 sales wasn't it, man. I felt like they had to push that out to another platform. I think it was even on the Epic Game Store. So like they had it on that smaller install base on the PlayStation, and they had it on the smaller install base on the on PC. Like I feel like that was bound to happen, you know. And not to mention the quality of the product wasn't well received either. I don't think there was going to be a lot of word of mouth to have people buy that game. Like at the end of the day, I hope that the company didn't suffer enough with the game, but it's just like these developers keep trying to clout chase and Destiny's doing something right. Let's do our own version of a looter shooter, but let's make it melee only. How'd that work for you? Like, there's got to be more thought put into these games than just let's put them out. Like,
right. And I bought that game, got it home, and played it for 2.5, maybe 3 hours. I really bought it because my guys that did pick up PlayStation 5s, I said, yo, I want a game to play with y'all online and get the experience. They beat the game in like 6 hours and said, Lemon, we done. And I was like, 6 hours? Like, had no legs on it. But, Animated, did you know about this story? And what do you think about this information?
I didn't know about this particular story, but it's a no-brainer that their games need to come to PC. Look, the PlayStation guys say, yeah, there's all these hundreds of people thingy, and they can't get the PS5s out there, can they? So the games have got to go back to PS4 because they can't leave all those fans behind.
That's a fact.
They just can't do it. As a business, you can't say this game can't go to we believe in generations. They said, yeah, they can't leave all those users and all that money and all that install base out there. Well, you have to buy a PS5. They can't supply the PS5s. So while the product is still talked about, they're going to have to put it back onto the older stuff.
That's kind of crazy if you think about it, because like they've been saying this generation stuff, and last week the God of War and Horizon. Well, we already knew Horizon was crossplay, and they got caught for lying in the advertisement for Gran Turismo, and now one of the few PlayStation 5 exclusives they do got, regardless of the quality of the game and how people received it, it's also a PlayStation 4 game. So it's kind of crazy how they are getting all that heat for generations. And Dance Move Ryan, he was like, let's do another one. Let's throw out Godfall now. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Now I'm gonna ask two guests. I'm gonna ask y'all. Let me ask both of y'all this. Why do you think Sony just wasn't straight up and just said it? Why Microsoft came out and said maybe 2 to 3 years, maybe, right? But why do you believe that Sony wasn't just forthcoming with the information and transparent?
I think part of it has to do with arrogance. I think Sony's gotten to the point in the industry where it's kind of like a little bit where they were similar with the PlayStation 3, where they feel like, people are going to buy a product anyway. So I feel like, they try to wait it out. They're trying to wait to the last minute, and they're hoping that the backlash to play Xbox would have been big enough to where when it happened on Xbox, they're like, well, Xbox is doing it anyway. I think the part that really hurt them is the Gran Turismo being counted as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So like games like that is showing, is like, look, not only are you low-key not telling us stuff, because did they lie? Not really. They just didn't tell you everything. But when it comes to the Gran Turismo, that's blatantly lying. Like they lied to us. So I think stuff like that's made it worse. And I think because Microsoft had the rocky Xbox One generation, they're kind of being transparent. They're like, we're not giving no one any articles. We're not giving, you can write those articles at the beginning when we're honest with you and tell you this is happening. But we are going to be completely transparent. So down the road, you can't say that we deceived you or anything like that.
Right. What's your take on it?
My take?
No, I meant to say Evil. Yeah, both your names start with A. What's your take, Evil?
I agree with what Predator is saying in the chat. They need to sell those PS5s. I think they were a little bit head in the sand and didn't realize how short they were going to be. We all heard those rumors back in the day of the chip shortage, okay? And they thought, we'll be fine. It will be fine. We will have plenty to sell. By the time it launches, we will have millions and millions on the shelf. And unfortunately, both companies, or all companies, are suffering the same. It's the same with the cards as well. You can't supply the parts.
Right.
And
right.
I think they just got caught out, and they believed that they could solve it with whatever the plan they had, and that's why.
I don't necessarily think that, because I feel like they've known about the chip shortage for a while now, even before the console came out.
That's a fact.
Yeah, so they knew that these consoles are selling, like, because they could only produce so many. I think it's a financial standpoint on the games themselves. Okay, we could take an L a little bit on the Ratchet and Clank, and we could take an L a little bit on the Returnal. It's like, but we can't take an L on is God of War because that costs too much money to make.
That's a fact.
We can't take an L on Horizon Zero Dawn because that costs too much money to make.
That's right.
It's like, so we're going to make sure these are cross-gen because these are the games that sure everyone likes, but we could sell them, those games, on PS5, but we need to be able to sell them on the PS4.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point. PK, jump in on this, man. Tell me what you think, man. And I really want to know why. Also, if you had anything to add to what they said, the wool over the eyes, man. This is crazy. Like, and I was like, they're gonna have to support it. That's not business if you don't support 100+ million consoles. So PK, what was your thought? Did you know about this information? And what do you think about it?
So it's unrealistic, to be honest. It's unrealistic, and it's not like let's just keep it real. Sony touts and says a lot of things. And the way I perceive it is this is advertisement. This is for the casuals who don't know any different. Right? They touted the PS4 Pro as a 4K console, even though it couldn't technically do 4K at the most part. They touted the HDR runs on a base PS4, even though technically it can't do it based on it doesn't have the HDMI port that's capable. So they do a lot of simulated things. And I understand that they wanted to put hype behind the and do buzzwords and try to hype with marketing, and this is why they said certain things. In reality, they're still trying to do what everyone else doing, right? Um, well, basically crapping on Game Pass when it first launched, and PS Now was what, $20. Now they dropped the price to 10 to try and compete. And I foresee them combining services just like Xbox do, just like they're against what crossplay, right? Charging companies for crossplay, some ridiculous stuff. And they're doing this because they could get away with fans, casuals, or even the ones that are you know blind loyal. They don't care. They don't care that they're even if they're being taken advantage of. The whole point of the $70 push is to recoup the losses they're making on their hardware. Let's be honest. They're going to do whatever they can and whatever they get away with as long as they can, until the only way it's going to stop is when people speak with their wallets and stop tripping. Now I get it. There's records saying that there's this many PS5s sold, but let's be honest, that's not how many that's in people's houses. That's how many that the scalpers picked up. That's how many that are sitting in warehouses somewhere trying to be resold. You know what I mean? Otherwise, nobody will be scrambling for a PlayStation. Matter of fact, we wouldn't be having people complaining about games on the Xbox, so they'd be so busy playing games on the PlayStation, right? You don't hear Switch owners complaining about not having enough games, even though it might not be first party. They got a ton of crap ton on their storefront.
I think a lot of the Switch games have a lot of replayability, like Mario Party, Mario Kart, anything Mario in its name pretty much. And I think, for the most part, when a Nintendo person buys a game, they buy that game. Like they play that game from beginning to end, from sideway to sideway. Look at the Super Smash Brothers. They've been playing that game for years.
Yeah.
Right. And those, but and the difference between those is those are console sellers. I know that sounds crazy, but people buy a Switch to play Pokemon. They do buy a Switch to play Smash, right? The numbers tell the story. Half of the people who own a Switch has Smash in their house.
That's a fact.
You can't say that with all the PlayStation games.
No.
No matter how
They're
many,
selective
you can
group.
say 100 million PS4s out there. You can't say half of them own God of War or half of them
Nope.
own Horizon Zero,
That's right.
half of them own Spider-Man. You can't say that.
That's
That doesn't
right.
happen. So it's different. So what they, even though they have the same mentality as Nintendo, and trying to, do the same kind of things by keeping everything in closed boxes and trying to eliminate and silo everything off from it. So you have to buy. They don't have console sellers like that. I'm sorry, they don't. And to be honest with you, they're gonna do everything under the bus to sell or get money or get revenue back, because honestly, the PlayStation 5 is a loss, especially if they talking about rumor talking about doing a restructure, doing with a 6 nanometer chipset to reduce power draw and heat, and that's just one component. I'm talking about the whole thing.
I don't even necessarily think they're doing that for like a cost efficiency. Like there's clearly issues with the PlayStation in certain games. Like I know there was a person that went on a podcast and he's talking about that Returnal bricked his system. He can't turn it on anymore.
Oh my
and when
God.
he talked to Sony about it, they acted like like he's lying, and they said he's gonna have to pay for maintenance on his PlayStation, and then when he's all right, just give me a refund on Returnal. Then they wouldn't even give him a refund on Returnal. Like,
it's ridiculous, man.
I mean, but that's kind of what I'm saying. We are almost into a year of these next gen consoles launched, and they don't even have an option for expandable memory. That should tell you something. It means they can't do it without the heat destroying something. It is poorly designed. They know this. And they also were fully aware, because this is their product, of chip shortages and any other financial problems when it comes to manufacturing or even partners, suppliers, right? They know this ahead of time. I know this because I worked on the back end too. And you well aware of all this.
Okay.
The thing is, how do you mitigate? What do you do? It's not like they deciding to do a redesign be right now on the fly. No, they've been thinking about it before, because they already knew the problems and they're just trying to ride it out as long as they can. It's not a reactive thing. They already knew what they had to do after the fact. So it just is what they do, man. It's a marketing thing. It works for them. They're gonna keep doing it until people's I won't. And don't take it disrespectfully when I say casual gamers. When I say casual gamers, people that don't get into this stuff like we do.
Right.
Who just want to plug their box in and it work. They don't, they're not reading the news and trying to be into why
they just want to buy the games and play.
Yeah. So they don't look at all that. So at the end of the day, that's what Sony is riding on. They ride on these guys and taking advantage and manipulating the wording and all this stuff. Of course, they got to sell the PS4. That makes no sense. Of course, they got to bring their games to PC. That makes no sense, because there's too much money on the table you're leaving if you do this and cold turkey everybody else. If you're trying to silo everybody and say you have to buy a PS5, and then you got this huge problem of you got all these PlayStations sold, but not everybody got them in the house. That means you're not having software sold, right?
well,
Because it doesn't matter how many units are sold. If people don't have them, they're not buying software for it.
Well, the good thing about, selling stuff on PC is clearly Days Gone did well, just not enough where they considered a sequel be worthy. Like, who knows? Maybe the sales on the PC, they're like, look, like clearly there's interest on PC and PlayStation, so you might potentially see a Days Gone sequel now. It's going to be another next game, but they might get greenlit for another one after that game, because the sales on PC was enough to where they felt comfortable investing into a new one.
Well, that's kind of my point. When Microsoft brought their games not just to their Windows launcher, but also to the Steam launcher, Every single Microsoft game is in the top 10 Steam bestsellers.
Facts.
Every time. And to this day, Sea of Thieves is in there. Top 10, bro. Halo Master Chief Collection.
Well, look,
Crazy.
we got to move on to the
So-
rest of these subjects, and we surely got to hit
Yeah.
Sony again. We got to hit Sony again. Game Pass. Sony fans criticize Sony over Game Pass and no response to it. I'm gonna start off with you, Animated. Well, what did you take on that last week? Because that was early Monday. This happened. They announced that. What do you think about that?
It's not news I know about. To be fair, I must have missed that. I don't know why. I've had a busy week. Can you give me a little heads up what it was?
Oh no, the Sony fans are criticizing Sony for not having a response for that Game Pass train. They want to get on that Game Pass train. That's the facts.
I thought they had a plan. They said months ago that they've got a plan, and that's the PS Plus, PS Now, whatever it is. Everyone can see what Game Pass is doing. It's great. Other than that, I don't know what Sony fans think. I'm not a PlayStation guy, but I can see why they'd be jealous.
Right.
Or at least a little envious of the quality games we get. So no, I don't really blame them for at least asking.
So what do you think this is about? Addict, talk to me.
It's
You
hard
think
to
they
tell.
have a valid point?
I mean, they do, but at the end of the day, I don't think Sony is going to do anything remotely close to Game Pass. They might restructure PlayStation Now or rename it, but as far as putting their games there on day to day, they might do it with certain games, but I just don't see like the next God of War being a Game Pass in their version of Game Pass day and day. I mean, but definitely go on Twitter and tweet them. Ain't nothing affects people more than going on Twitter and constantly seeing notifications of people bitching.
That is the truth.
That will affect people way more than money will, because money's a long-term thing. It takes a long time to beat a big multi-billion-dollar corporation to submission with money. Like, not necessarily, I don't want to say harassing, but informing the PlayStation executives, the PlayStation community managers, like, yo, I want a version of Game Pass. That's going to get to them way before anything else would.
Right.
And because these people don't want to deal with bad press, because usually if something's trending like that, then guess what's going to follow? Articles going to write about people being upset. Then guess what's going to follow that? People saying they're not going to buy some. That's exactly what happened with Fortnite. So, Fortnite said, yo, we wanted to do crossplay, and PlayStation said, we're not doing crossplay. And Fortnite was like, I'm going to take my ball and go home then.
That's right.
And then when that happened, Fortnite's community was like, no, we ain't letting them off. And then they attacked Sony. And then before you know it, in like 2 weeks, Sony's like, it's like they had that like that I'm announcing something I don't want to announce moment where they're like, they're just sitting there looking, we're gonna go ahead and do this crossplay. And, I've always said, a community outreach is the best way to do it. If you don't like something, sure, don't buy it. But I would also say go on Twitter, go on any social media, and respectfully, frustrate, tell them your frustrations, because enough of you do that, that's going to get stuff done long before anything else will.
The Game Pass train is real. Everybody want to get on board, even the competition. That's what's crazy. That is definitely what's crazy. PK, give me your take on this, man. And we're gonna move into these E3 topics.
I'm gonna keep it short. Like, they're just mad because they have to pay $70 and then we have Game Pass. At the end of the day, that is the biggest issue, right? They looking at it like,
PK.
Guess those are the facts.
PK, you know what it was that started this? It was that show coming on Game Pass day and day.
No,
they didn't feel that at all.
No, that wasn't the started it, because in the same month we had Outriders. So what started it was a while back when Xbox says game day and date first parties on Game Pass,
and then we
just kept building, and now we have third parties, such as Streets of Rage, now Outriders, now MLB, and now I've seen Back for Blood day and date.
And another good example is like, it's not just games coming in there, the same time it launches, day and date. Like, look at the Octopath Traveler that popped in there first. When it came to Xbox, it popped in Game Pass. When that comes to PlayStation,
Dragon
they
Quest
paying
Builders.
they paying 60 bones for that game. So you know,
Dragon
That's
Quest
true.
Builders. I mean, Dragon
Dragon
Quest
Quest
11.
11.
We can go on and on, but the point is, they're just upset because they paying them high taxes over there, and they feel like we're getting over. Right? They feel like, well, you're paying for a rental. No, we get to purchase it at a discount if we wanted to keep
top
it.
of that. That's facts.
So
That's facts.
we could try anything we want, and if we want to keep it, we get it at a discount. At the end of the day, it would never be $70.
All right, we're going to jump into these other E3 based topics now and keep the show moving. Battlefield 6 impressions, and is anybody worried about that story mode not being available at any time? They made it a multiplayer game. Talk to me, PK.
So I don't know. I don't think I'd be worried about it not being available per se. Just questioning their strategy in the marketing, right? You know, charging that premium price and then not having that piece. That means it's gotta be a superstar when it drops, right? It's gotta be a superstar with plethora of modes, etc., to keep people interested. Like, we know Call of Duty is a behemoth on its own, not because it's the best, but because it's good at marketing, right? It's good at doing these microtransactions and getting people involved. But I would think that, you know, even though Battlefield is different, they still compete, right? Sometimes they release simultaneous in the same month. So in order to, I'm not sure about that piece of how they marketing, but I don't think it would hurt the game per se, because people like Battlefield is going to play it for the reason they playing it for, and that's the multiplayer.
Right.
At the end of the day, Overwatch launch, no story mode, successful, one of the best multiplayer games ever to launch in the last gen. My opinion, it's all right, but it didn't have its story mode, and it was just fine. Titanfall, one of the greatest multiplayer games to launch in the last generation, did not have a story mode in the first one, and it still pushed past 11 million, 15 million copies. So I don't think per se the story mode missing is a problem. I just hope that they get their marketing on lock when it comes to this, so that people won't shy away from it because it sounds negative, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, definitely want to. I definitely want to piggy off of what PK said. Like he's right, because I don't think the story not being there is going to be an issue. I think the story, like as far as us buying it, like the consumers, but I feel like the story not being there is an issue in terms of competition, because like why go out there and buy a $60-$70 game when you got Fortnite for free, Warzone for free? So like I'm going to buy it because I enjoy Battlefield.
Facts.
But to me, I'm like, maybe you should have, you know, maybe not necessarily make a story, but maybe you should have tried to at least have a battle royale out there. Like maybe you should have took that money you saved and did something, or make the game at a discount. Because like to me, I'm looking at from like the everyday person. You're competing with the Fortnite fans, the Apex fans, the Warzone fans, because generally that community and they go out, buy these games, and then they go back to these battle royales. So it's just like you're going to charge for a portion of what your game normally is, and then you got to look from the other aspect. It's like that's why Halo is one of the biggest games that's ever been in the first-person shooter market. Sure, it's not what it used to be, but in a lot of ways, Halo has shaped.
No. Let me correct you, Addict. Halo 5 is the most successful Halo ever.
But you get what I'm saying, though.
I'm just saying we gotta clean that up, because the narrative is because people didn't like the story, but the Halo 5 has generated more money than any other previous Halo by far.
But what I was pretty much like pointing to is like even Halo bent the knee when it comes to a free-to-play model going in there, because they know they can't compete. They can't compete unless they're free-to-play. And I'm not saying Battlefield can't compete. I'm saying, just like PK said, if they ain't coming out there with that story, that game better be lit just as far as a multiplayer. It better be the best game they've ever made.
Yeah, the
Right. It's
multiplayer
got to
got to
be a
be on top.
superstar. It's got to be a super, not just how it plays, but you got to have enough content to keep people interested. Because it better be. I'm telling you, it's got to be on that level where there is no disputing. If you get what I mean, right? It's got to be a superstar like those ones I mentioned. Overwatch, Game of the Year 2 times in a row. Titanfall, it came out swinging the biggest streaming multiplayer game of the year when it came out. On a period, right? It's got to be one of those type of situations. So I have nothing against what they're doing, but they're asking for a premium price, not just a price, but a premium price at that, and you got to justify that with coming with the lightning and thunder, like you dropping Thor's hammer on somebody.
Okay, animated. Talk to me. What's your feeling?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we could ever accuse a Battlefield game of having no content. They usually give us quite a fair bit in there.
That's the facts.
They always give content.
Always.
As for the price, I mean, you could compare it against. What about? Let me just form my words. So, what about these single player games that are $70 that you're going to play once and don't have a multiplayer?
Facts.
With Battlefield, you buy Battlefield. If you're invested in the multiplayer, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
That's
hours.
a fact.
Some people thousands.
Well, this is one of the only multi-platform games that are at the premium price, right? Most of the single player games are, on one platform at that price.
Not true.
So it's just most
Not
of them
true.
are.
Not true.
Most of them are.
You don't want to count special editions at $89.99? You want to forget about
those
that?
those special editions are elective. They are not a standard.
Oh, so you're trying to say the starting price?
Yes. So if you're going, of course, every
Technically,
game,
this game
most
is
games
not
have
$70.
options. But let's be honest, most of those are optional, and they give you a standard edition. Most people elect to.
But PK,
because
this game is not just $70.
I'm just saying,
everybody keeps alluding to the next gen price. On the other gen, it's $60.
No, that's you know what? I don't even want to.
Oh, you don't want to do that. I'm just saying.
I don't want to do that because that's
about those other consoles.
There's a different conversation going on there. Right? I can say the same thing about a lot of other stuff, but I don't want to get too deep in it. What I want to do is just stay, just to say I agree with the points that are being made. It's just
right.
What you want to say, what you want to do is understand that how many, if you're willing to accept this premium price, if the people are willing to accept this,
they will,
and go for this, okay. So that means you want to draw their attention away from Warfare and Fortnite and Apex Legends and all
of them games is different, bro.
They are different, but they are a big market share. They are still a big market share. So if you want this game to be successful, then you need to be able to give them something that makes them feel like this is a worthy buy. If you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm not saying that Battlefield is terrible or any of that. It's a great game. I'm just stating, since you're competing in this space where Battle Royales is a huge market, you know what I mean? It's like you got to make sure you bring lightning when you're trying to compete on those levels. That's all I'm saying.
There is arguments for both sides of the fence as well, though. When you think what's been announced, 7 maps, I think.
Yeah,
maybe not enough for that money. I agree,
but they're not maps like Call of Duty small maps, like Corridor Shoot. They are maps, like whole maps, 128 people maps, not a couple levels that Call of Duty they give you like we getting the boat back. But you got to pay for that next season, right? Or you earn the points, the coins, which I'm a Call of Duty fan also, but how big is that boat?
Yeah.
You see?
I'm kind of on the fence with you.
I don't necessarily think that they're competing with the Call of Duty.
They're really not.
They're competing with BRs. Let's just be real here.
That's right.
That's where their fan base is. That's where they have to do. And I think Battlefield will be fine, but I do think that I do think them coming out without a battle royale is going to hurt them a little bit. But at the end of the day, it just depends on, how that is, how the gameplay is, how fluid it is, how people like it. And when it comes to, what Eva was saying about the single player games, is like, look, I think I'm right there with you. I think that we can't demand single player games for multiplayer because it's a $70 price tag, but we don't do that the other way around.
That's right.
I think we need to have the same energy both ways, but at the end of the day, the industry has accepted single player games not having multiplayer.
Right.
And I think the reason it is because we were raised with single players not having to have a multiplayer. So I feel like a single player game could easily get away with it, and that's because we came from the from N64, from the PS1s, and those didn't have multiplayers. They were single player games.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have that same mentality now, where it's like when I buy a single player game, a multiplayer mode in it is like an add-on. It's not necessary.
And I feel like this, and Brett is right. Texas size maps, which is a fact. But I'm going to say this for the record. If you don't like something, don't buy it. Battlefield has never been for the masses. It's been for the people who play hardcore. Just like Rainbow Six. Everybody was like, oh, Rainbow Six Siege is trash. They sold 30 million copies, and that's a hardcore game. So it can be done.
200,000 concurrent players every day.
No, they sold 30 million copies over the last 5 or 6 years. That's what I'm telling you. And listen,
saying,
and when it came out, it struggled. But what I'm saying is, Rainbow Six is a strategic, tactical game. Nobody says, oh, they're not like Call of Duty. Why not? Because it's a strategy game. You don't compare NBA Jam to NBA 2K. They're two different games. But people shouldn't be out here judging what somebody wants to pay $70 for.
Here's the question.
You should just, not you, I'm saying the market, because these are the people complaining. Oh my God, it's $70. Do you even play it? Nope,
Here's
I don't
the
play.
question,
I don't
though.
play that game. So why do you care?
Here's the question, though. Rainbow Six Siege, I feel like succeeded a lot because it had a grip on the market before these battle royale games came to what they are.
Facts.
Could it have done the same thing if it tried to establish its brand during the BR domination?
But hold on. I remember when Rainbow Six Siege, if you remember, they struggled out the gate. They completely revamped that game. The same way Fortnite had to put Fortnite mode into it, a battle royale, because that game, that single player game, was dead.
They did, but
they copied PUBG and they hit a grand slam.
They didn't have to restructure during when Fortnite's at its fame, or Apex Legends at its fame, or Warzone's at its peak. Like,
right.
That's my point. It's like, I think they could do it, but it's just like, no longer can you just drop a free demo on the weekends to get a surge in viewership and a surge in the engagement in your game, because after that free weekend's up, people are going right back to Fortnite, Warzone, and Apex. So I don't know if they could have necessarily have done that now like they did that back then.
Right. That's true. Everybody got very, very, very valid points, man. I just don't like people judging people for something they're not vested in. That's what's killing me. If you're not vested, just stay out of it. Like, I bought Smash Brothers Ultimate. I'm not a Smash Brothers player. I like the game. I suck. But I'm not going to tell people, oh, that game is not a fighting game like Street Fighter. That's not my place. That's just not, I'm not good at it.
That's why I always tell people that says, we need Halo and Gears to change. And then I look at their stuff and they never play them.
Right.
So I'm like, so who are you to tell the actual people, the hardcore audience for these titles and these franchises, that their game needs to change when you don't even play their game?
That's a fact.
Like,
a lot of this input is coming from people who don't even remember Battlefield being multiplayer only anyway. It started like that. That's what I was telling people. Like, they kind of put
Battlefield 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, and 1942. The original Battlefield, they didn't have no single player on PC. It just was multiplayer. That's it.
Like I said,
when it got to consoles, when they try to generalize the story with Bad Company and all of them other games, 1 and 5, Battlefield 4, they started putting stories in it. But technically, it started out on PC and it was a multiplayer game only.
And just to throw it out there, like that is not. I don't ever believe that will hurt because the core reason people play is for the
Multiplayer, right?
And I just want to point this out. Overwatch is Blizzard's best-selling game of all time.
And it's multiplayer only
50 million. 50
only.
million
That's
copies.
right. I love Overwatch.
And guess what?
Only.
They charge for that sucker too.
Yeah,
So.
$65.
And to be honest with you, I would prefer them to not make that single player and focus on the multiplayer,
because that's what they're doing.
That's what I prefer, because like that's just me. Like I don't care what other people want. The people that like Battlefield, that buy that for a single player, like we got a dozen single player games your ass can go play.
Right.
I want to play that for the multiplayer. And if making both of them simultaneously is going to hurt the multiplayer, let's get that out of there. Let's get the single player straight in the push.
I'm for that because the last two Battlefields, they people didn't want to play World War II, but they sold extremely well. They don't do Call of Duty numbers. They do about 13, 14 million. Call of Duty average about 21 million. So 13, 14 million ain't no drop in the pond either. They're good. It's not like you don't got to aim at Call of Duty's 21. You're good at 13, 14 million sold.
And the funny thing is, like,
content.
Call of Duty. The funny thing is, Call of Duty still does really well. But as far as like how they used to do in the past, they're not even doing like that.
Oh, they doing real good with these microtransactions on
I'm
weapons
talking,
and $20 characters.
I'm talking about like just strictly sales, like.
Right.
I'm sure if you go there in Fortnite and you add up their cosmetics, and Apex Legends you add up their cosmetics, that free to play game is probably bodying Call of Duty overall.
Yeah, and you're spending more money than $70. That is a known fact. But we're gonna move into the next situation, man. We're gonna get into the new information about Microsoft, this new TV stick, this xCloud app, and working with TV manufacturers, not just Samsung, but TV manufacturers to put xCloud on devices, either the app or their stick. We're going to start with you, PK, man. What do you feel? And how do you feel? And is this a move to make?
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural segue, right? Smart TVs are now, at least this year, making it standard for HDR and FreeSync and all this other technology that was not really standard but optional in some TVs. Now it's becoming standard,
right?
And it's become standard to have apps on the TV now, right? That wasn't a thing; it was optional. So it makes sense because I know you said it before, there's more TV sold than there are consoles.
That's a fact.
So, just like I did an interview on 4GQ TV, and we was talking to Aaron over at Square when we was talking about Outriders dropping on Game Pass. The same mentality is, who wouldn't want to put your content in front of millions of
that's right.
Of people. Now, if you're talking TVs, that's billions, right?
That's a fact.
So if you can put your content in front of billions, even if all billion don't subscribe,
billions with a B. Let's make sure people understand.
Yeah, even if not all billions subscribed, just the fact that you can get millions out of that and even build on to a billion is a win, right? Because you're making ease of use. The whole reason, and not a lot of people don't like the digital era because that's where we're shifting, is to
and we're
digital
shifting really fast.
Shifting to digital only and streaming. So a lot of people, because we're old, we're gamers that we're used to having physical things. But the point is, people are at ease of use. And if you break down barriers that gives them the ability to get to your content, the more barriers you break down, the more likely they're going to get into that. It's just like giving you coupons at your door for buy one, get one free. More than likely, you're going to, if you give it to 10 people and only 5 of them use it, that's a win because that's 5 more people that's going to spend money on your stuff than it was before you sent those coupons out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only a good segue for adoption to Game Pass, right? And that's the general idea, but it's also a strategic way to get people vested into the ecosystem.
Facts.
Because the reason why people don't change from Apple is because they spend so much money in iTunes. It ain't got nothing to do with their tech.
They don't want to
It's
lose
the
that
fact-
library.
It's the fact that they have so much attachment in this iTunes, they can't switch. They can't afford to switch.
And I honestly feel like last generation was a bad generation to lose because that's when digital started getting a little bit more popular. But this generation, you lose this generation, like you might not ever be able to come back because I have a feeling by the end of this generation, the majority of people are going to be digital.
Well, EA reported over 70% of their sales last year was digital, and the year before that, they reported 53%.
Yeah, but
digital.
EA, I think, is a little bit different because they have a lot of sports games, and they come out yearly. So, if you lose a lot of them people that, just buy the Maddens, the 2Ks, the FIFAs, like, they have no problem leaving that because it's all old predecessors of the game that they can play.
And you can't trade it in but nothing before $1 at GameStop. So that's another thing. It ain't worth nothing after that year.
And then plus the battlefields, like,
only Nintendo games retain their value after years.
Yeah, certain ones. That's definitely the truth. Mr. Evil, talk to me. What do you think about the direction that Microsoft is going with these sticks, the TV apps, and this xCloud situation?
I like it. I think it's brilliant. They've been called the Netflix of gaming for, rightly or wrongly, that's what they've been canned as, yeah? If you take hold of your TV remote right now and have a look down, on your remote you will see a Netflix button. You will see an Amazon button. Possibly a YouTube button. Microsoft's goal is to get a Game Pass button right there next to them buttons. That's what they're going for. They've got, and with the sticks, the TVs, that's what they'll get eventually. It's a long game. I love the fact that they're doing it and trying to make it a little. I mean, look at the Amazon Fire Stick. That is making Amazon lots and lots and lots of money, isn't it?
More than Amazon, it's making all these app manufacturers too. Netflix, Disney Plus, because they're on that stick.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting it in their homes. I'm gonna get to that later, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, you get a stick out there, plug it into your TV. It comes with what you.
It comes with everything you need.
Expensive version. It comes with a controller, maybe. It comes with Game Pass installed. You get you get your application you got on your phone where you can talk to your friends and stuff. Who wants to carry? Do you know I travel on business now and then. Who wants to carry an Xbox with them? I've got a stick. Think there you go. In a hotel room, happy. And that's just where I live. That's just where I live. Look at the people that can't get consoles. They're not in the console zone. Your country's further afield. That if they could get to places like say I don't know, India and places like that, it'd be awesome for them.
That's right.
It's people use digital gaming anyway. The internet infrastructure is already there. It can stream good enough. They're only going to be limited by their display.
Facts.
It's not really a limitation.
Attic, I'm gonna let you go next on this situation, man. You tell me, what do you think with this, man? What did you feel when you hear this? What was your whole complete emotions? Because they announced this 2 days before their press conference, and this is big. So I know you had to have some big aspirations for tomorrow, but what did you think about this? With this being said, 2 days before the press conference.
One thing it did, it made me realize when it comes to the conference, they're going to keep it more game orientated because this is something you could definitely announce at the show, but I feel like they know they want to stay away from these type of announcements on a show that mainly people are coming in for games.
Right.
I feel like when they said we want to reach 2 billion people, you can't reach 2 billion people without the mobile market. And I would consider this around the same kind of area as the mobile market. Like, I feel like xCloud was always designed for either 5Gs or a high speed internet, and that was always their end game. And xCloud, it's no longer Xbox is considered their prime focus. Xbox is a pillar, and Game Pass is their prime focus. That's why xCloud is also their pillar to get you to Game Pass. All these pillars, they have one job: to push you towards the service. And that's why when in the next couple, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. You're going to slowly see a drift towards it. But I would say within the next 3 to 5 years, almost every TV you click on is going to have Game Pass as an app.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling they're gonna partner with these manufacturers to where it's like Evil said, like there's not only the controller is just as important as the TV, because they're gonna want that button on the controller.
That's right. And my take, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say they're gonna partner with them. They're gonna make sure that button's on the controller. They're gonna constantly promote that with it. And I think for the most part, you're going to see them pushing more Game Pass than anything else. I don't think they're going to. I think you're going to have the option to buy games on these TVs, but I think they're going to really push the service on you more than anything else.
The streaming, yeah, the streaming service. And to allude to what Pete, guys, you got something to say? Anime? Yeah. Oh, that was you, PK. My bad.
Yeah, I want to add on to this because there's something else we haven't thought about. I know this is just speculation, but I heard some things that this might be true. They're pushing this really hard on the TVs and the stick, right? But how would you feel if the new Switch came enabled with Game Pass app?
Really happy, personally. The more money that goes into the system, the better the games we get on in the system.
I don't really care.
Well,
because I have a Switch and I have an Xbox, so
what I mean is for those who don't have that, those who just only have Switch and they have a Game Pass app, and I'll ask Attic and I'll ask Evil just say he'd be happy, but I'll ask Attic, what do you think? Do you think that could be a power move to push for reach as well?
I think it'd be a power move. But the question is, like, Microsoft would definitely want that, but would Nintendo want that?
That's what I keep telling people.
Well, what I'm saying is, remember how Phil answered the question when he was asked about exclusivity?
He said, "What Game Pass is
wherever platform there is Game Pass."
Right.
He didn't say hardware.
Platform means TVs.
That's kind of ambiguous. So that could mean a lot of things.
Switch.
I mean, Game Pass is on the PC market too. Like,
and PC.
I think he's open. He's definitely open to bringing it on other platforms.
It's the point. It's not about him, Attic. It's about them.
Especially Nintendo, because I feel like one of the reasons Nintendo's games sell so well is there's almost no competition on their platform. On that platform,
you see, Nintendo systems sell Nintendo games.
Right.
Everybody else is second and third thought.
Right.
That's just what it is.
And that's mainly because there's not really a whole lot of competition on those platform. Like, imagine like when Zelda came out, you had access to xCloud that had you access to like all the other holiday games,
and Elder Scrolls.
I'm not saying that it would kill their sales, but I'm saying it would reduce their sales.
It definitely would take a hit.
I'm not sure about that because even when they had Sony competing in their market, they got killed, and they had the inferior.
We talking about the handheld market?
Yes.
No, handheld don't count.
That's because they can't. They didn't look. Sony really was in that market, but were they really in that market?
They wasn't. They wasn't invested.
They don't invest like Nintendo does, and they don't have their own Pokemon or their own Mario.
They tried to go Smash, and that didn't work out.
We got the same games we got on PlayStation: God of War, Uncharted, Street Fighter, the best games at the last the Vita launch was the best games for the whole console's life. They can't compete with Nintendo. Nobody can compete with Nintendo. Only thing compete with Nintendo now is xCloud on the go because it looks better than anything any portable system could do. That's a fact. You get console-like graphics on your cell phone or your tablet. That's
and
a fact.
not to mention, like, Octopath Traveler right now is in Game Pass. Like, if that was on Game Pass, why would you ever buy it on their platform when you could
That's
just
a fact.
play it on? And that you know, that's small things. Like, I doubt something like that would solve them. But like, for instance, this whole, like, whenever they drop their newer games, like, because Nintendo don't care, they will drop their shit right out there in the middle of everyone. They don't care.
Right.
But how are you going to really compete when, you know? I think Nintendo's game would still do well, but there are a lot of people out there that pick up that game because there ain't nothing else to play. My cousin Storm, he's a primary Switch gamer, and he's always complaining lack of third party support. He only has a Switch, so if you start giving them more access to games through xCloud, he won't have to rely on just first party anymore. And I think that would slowly. It wouldn't happen immediately. Because I do think that those gamers over there are conditioned to play just their games.
And Sony's not allowing it. Sony's not allowing it.
After about a year or two, people are going to realize xCloud's there. And they're going to start playing the Fables and the Avoweds.
Mm-hmm.
And then why would you go out? Like, obviously, there are going to be people to buy Zelda, but there are going to be people playing Avowed that's like, I'll buy Zelda later when it's on sale because I got this value in Game Pass. We're already seeing it with PlayStation and Xbox. People are just subscribing to play MLB The Show because I mean, we might have money. Well, some of you, not me, but you know, we might have access to these games, but at the end of the day, we only have so much time. Yeah. So how are people going to? I mean, look what's already happening with Game Pass. Imagine if you put that on the Switch and people had to choose between playing a certain game in time frame and another game. You know, I'm not saying that every time Nintendo would lose, but I'm saying it would be more up in the air on when Nintendo would win any kind of competition. Because let's be real, there's a reason why. I honestly think that's the reason they try to appeal to a third party, but they don't care to appeal to a third party. They make the third party people bend to they will, not the other way around. And I think it wouldn't be the same.
And I don't see how it benefits Nintendo from having Game Pass on a Switch.
I don't think it benefits them at all.
I don't think it benefits them at all. It benefits Microsoft, but not Nintendo.
I see this a little different, so I got to disagree. I think you know, for one, Nintendo never sells their system at a loss, so they're making money just for you buying the console. Okay, then number two, Nintendo guys buy, like 108 said, Nintendo guys or people buy Nintendo systems for Nintendo games. No matter
I'm one of them.
But if you give them an extra idea that, hey, if I'm only going to buy one system, this is what it is, and you know, I just want to play Mario or Mario Kart, whatever, forever. But then you give us option to get to Game Pass. That is a double whammy. So that means they're subscribing to Game Pass on top of having Nintendo console. So they have the best of both worlds and possibly a better chat system, right? An online ability to talk to their friends and message their friends, which is currently not that great on the Switch, right? You can't message your friends anyway. And, you know, friend system is kind of raggedy. But I think it will be a benefit and push not just Game Pass, but also gives them more appeal to the people, the section of people who only buy Nintendo consoles, if that makes sense.
I get that, but it's like I said, man, like, look at the foundation that Microsoft's building Game Pass on. They want to have a game out, a AAA game out every 3 months and AA's in between. Like, do you think Nintendo wants that on their platform?
No.
Like, we're not talking.
They will get
never
the mess stomped out of them, man.
It would never hinder their first party sales, only the third party. So at the end of the day,
which is going to hurt somebody.
I'd have to disagree with you on that.
At the end of the day, Pokemon will always sell, no matter what form factor it comes in. It's on mobile.
True indeed. They have their dedicated
and it will
crew,
sell.
definitely. Definitely.
It will sell. It's not even on a Nintendo
108
device. It's
Dragons
on mobile. They
TV
have
welcomes
4 or
everyone.
5 Pokemon, 10 Pokemon games, and one about to come out.
I agree with you, but we're talking about Pokemon would still sell well, but is it going to sell 30 million well? Like we're
Yes.
talking about a platform
Yes.
you only have Pokemon to buy, really.
No.
Like when
no.
that game comes out, so you need to tell me there's like 3 or 4 games dropping every day, and when they drop a
Nintendo
game,
don't drop no games like that.
What I'm saying is
Not at all. You're right,
Pokemon-
Addict.
Pokemon's will always sell the amount it's going to sell no matter what. It would never. That's why they're dropping a Pokemon November like they always do every year. They don't care who's dropping games because they know it's going to sell no
the
matter
reason
what.
they don't care who's dropping games is because there's no one dropping games over there to that degree.
Yeah, there's nobody dropping
Like
games on
third
their
parties not
platform to
really over
compete
there
with
in
them.
huge presence. Like
Yeah,
imagine if like, you know, maybe not Cyberpunk, but like when The Witcher came out, like if The Witcher 2 came out, well, not Witcher 2, but Witcher 4, and it's on the Switch right next to Pokemon. Like there's gonna be a lot of people gravitate towards Pokemon, but now it's more of a what do I want? Not there's only Pokemon.
Right.
Yep.
It's easier to sell your stuff when there's nothing else but your stuff on the platform. Sure, there's third party and there's indies, but third party is very scarce. And indies, obviously, who's picking an indie over Pokemon?
Nobody.
But when you start putting actual games, quality games competing with Nintendo's products, it's like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. But when people start saying, yo, what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Fable. Oh, where'd you get that? It's on Game Pass. Like, people are going to start playing these type of games. Sure, they're going to still play the Nintendo games.
Of course.
But it's going to be more competition with those Nintendo games.
When I buy
And
a
instead
Switch, any Nintendo system, I buy Nintendo first party. I didn't buy it for The Witcher. I damn sure ain't playing 2K. They don't get Madden. They don't get the major titles I play. They can't do Call of Duty. Overwatch does not play well. Fortnite is nah. Everybody that buys a Switch, they compete for Nintendo games. That's what.
And not to mention, if when they continue to invest in the xCloud, and they continue to make sure that service runs the best it can, what happens if Xbox's games running better on the Switch than Nintendo's games? Like people notice stuff like that, and it's like I said, it's not a thing that's going to happen overnight. But there are a lot of people that buy games on the Switch when a first party drops because they ain't had nothing to eat in months. So
how many games they dropped last year? PK, how many games they dropped last year?
Their first party games, 3.
There's 12 months, PK. It's like, look, it's like I said, I know their games are going to do well, but
they considered last year a real drought. Remember that everybody was complaining.
I made a video about it, right? So my thing is, I understand what you guys are saying, and it's not that I don't consider what your point of view to be valid. I'm just saying I just disagree that their games will stop selling the same. I think it would actually pique more people interest to pick up.
But you still haven't answered the question. I asked you a simple question. How does that benefit Nintendo?
I just said that my answer is it will appeal to that user base that only buys that subset of systems.
That ain't nothing to do with Nintendo. I said, how does that work for Nintendo? Not the players, the company.
Obviously, if Nintendo did this, there's a big ass back.
It would have to be something, and we can't make it up. So I'm saying,
I get you.
What benefits Game Pass on the Switch? How does that work for Nintendo?
One of the things that I said is they don't have the best online service. Period. They don't. They don't have the best online chat because it is non-existent. It don't exist. The phone app doesn't work. All right. They don't have a way to send messages to your friends. But if they partner with Microsoft and have that established within their subscription or something, maybe that would be helpful. I don't know. I'm just saying that there could be a benefit there. But I'm just speculating because Microsoft, we know, has the better backbone, and when it comes to the online service.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
So it would make real sense for Nintendo to go to them for some help in that area that they're weak in. Right?
Agree with you. Like at the end of the day, that this is something that we'll never know because it's never going to
It's
happen.
not going to happen.
But like
you ain't going to embarrass us on our console.
Yeah,
And PlayStation
I
pushing
feel,
PS Now and their digital stuff, they're not going to allow it. They're
I
not
do
going to be
feel
like, oh
like
yeah, bring over Game Pass. It runs better, no problem.
I do feel like there is a reason that Nintendo's never really favored a third party. It's like I said, they make third party jump hoops around them. They're not the other way around. Like they don't like when people say, "Well, I don't like when third parties make statements against Nintendo because it's not strong enough or stuff." Like, have you ever had them come out openly and make a statement of why? Because they know there's a reason for that. Like they know that. Like, look, like. Not saying that Pokemon's not going to sell 30 million, but it might not. I'm not saying it's not going to sell well, but instead of saying 30, it might sell 20 because there's actual competition.
You got to also look at the Japanese management at Nintendo. They think old-fashioned Japanese. They don't change their regime.
That culture is definitely real.
Not having that. So I don't know why people think they're so liberal. They're not. They're really not. Because they let you get in Raven Rabbits and get some characters in Smash, that don't mean they so giving of what they dominate. You know they're cheap. They keep their proprietary platform for their medium so they can charge more money for you to put your game on their proprietary platform. That's why we have a PlayStation, because they didn't want to go CD. They wanted to dominate with the cartridge price. That's a fact. They don't have open mind, but we got to move on, man. We got 2 more subjects left, man, and I see the chat is lit. Yobi, I didn't see nothing. You're going to have to hit me after the show or something, bro, because I looked and I didn't see anything. But thank you, whatever it is. You did keep your word, but I don't see nothing. But with that being said, man, before we get into the Ubisoft showcase, we're going to keep it short and sweet on this one. The Elden Ring impressions. What did y'all think about this game? It's a Souls-like, roguelike game. And we watched this live on the channel. Animated. What did you think about this game, bro?
You know what? From what I've seen, I'm kind of impressed. I don't do Souls-like games. I've never played a Souls game. I can apologize, everybody.
Well, listen, will this make you switch? Will you give this one a try?
This is what I was about to say. Yes, because of the visual aesthetic, the way it looked, the way it ran, it gave me, I don't know why, it gave me Witcher feels. And I'm a massive fan of The Witcher. Okay? Just the way it looked. I need to see gameplay first rather than a video. I want to see a little bit more of it. But this is the one that's made me think, oh, I could actually play this. I don't know what it is about it, but watching it on the show the other day, I thought, yeah, it looks to have a fair, good story. It's been helped by George R. Martin, who did the old Game of Thrones thing. I'm a fan of Game of Thrones. I did like the aesthetic of it, the way it looked, the way it's the way the fighting happened and stuff. So, on that note, yeah, I am willing to give it a go, and it's going to be my first Souls-ish game, I hope.
Talk to me, PK. What did you think about that?
It's not my kind of game, buddy.
Did you like what you see?
I mean, it looks fine, but it's not my jam, I would say. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with the game per se. It's just not the type of game I dig. I'm not a Souls guy. I don't like those games. It's hit or miss for me when it comes to what you call roguelike. Like I like some, but I don't like them all. And the combat, it just doesn't appeal to me. But that's because of the type of games I like. I come from the Bayonetta, the Devil May Cry, the Ninja Gaiden. Those games appeal to me more because I'm all about the action, the fast-paced movements, and trigger, right? It's kind of like the Mario versus Sonic idea, right? I'm more of a Sonic guy than Mario guy because I I love the speed, the drilling, the quick action and impulses. That's just me. That's the type of games I prefer. And it has nothing to do with the game itself, but it's not my kind of game to kind of give it a good rating or not. But I mean, far as the what was shown, it looks fine. It looks fine.
Okay. Mr. Attic, aka Addict's World. Now I know you play this style of game. What was your thoughts?
It looked like a From Software game. Like,
Well, that's it.
looked like
You wasn't
yeah,
excited?
I gotta see more on it. Like, I know it's gonna be a good game, but it's just like I feel like they're starting to they're getting too reliant on formulas, and you know, Sekiro's a nice change in pace, and they've always been good at games. It's just like you didn't see a whole lot of gameplay, and I got to see more of how the game features because like after Sekiro, like I'm just sitting here like you guys just raised the bar so much, I don't even know if your A game can keep up with that.
Okay.
So it's just like I got to see how the game plays now, and because Sekiro, but like that's the best From Software game they've ever made, and like I think right after that's like a close Bloodborne, but it's just like that game was amazing, and now I'm having a hard time deciding if they can live up to that now. Like,
You know what? Let me address my man Other Zinc in the chat. Ninja Gaiden is hard as hell. It might as well be a roguelike game. That game is hard as hell. If you ain't truly skilled in Ninja Gaiden, you ain't gonna get nowhere. You're gonna die a whole lot. There's no easy way around them bosses, but I believe you. You know what I'm saying? I you know, not every rogue game is better than, but you might as well call it a rogue game because Ninja Gaiden is hard as hell. Let me tell y'all something. I play these styles of games. I don't like Demon Souls. The series, I love Demon Souls 3. I thought it was easier to get into. The boss battles was better. It definitely took that series to a graphical level, a different level. But I am going to say this for the record. I was very impressed the other day. I had no thoughts about this game. I saw what they showed. It was a lot of trailer stuff, but it piqued my interest, so I will keep an eye on this game, man. I will definitely keep an eye on this game. Now, the last piece of subject, man, and let me tell y'all, chat, y'all out here in the building. I'm going to make an announcement. Y'all out here in the building. Y'all looking fantastic. And shout out to my boy, Yobi. He just sent me a code for tomorrow's press conference, Bethesda Xbox or Xbox Bethesda, to give away Biomutant. So when he pops on, it's when the code going to drop. Good looking, my brother. Always support. Greatly appreciate having you on at any damn time. You are the man. So shout out to Yobi. He's going to donate that to the 108 Dragons community. Now, we're going to get into this last topic. We're going to talk about Ubisoft's presentation. And that's going to be it for tonight. But I want to hear from Animated. What did you think about this presentation? And I want you to rate it from 1 to 10. 1 to 10. You got to give it a number. And I want to see what game stood out for you. And how did you think the press conference went in terms of the presentation?
Let's go with presentation first, because that's the easiest facet to talk about. I like the way it was paced good. The way it ran, it was good. You often get these presentations that run slow. We start dozing off. It kept my interest all the way throughout. Immediately off the bat, I was a little bit unimpressed with the first couple of games they showed. I'm thinking, am I watching the right show? Is this new? Rocksmith, what? That's been out for a very long time now. But
yeah, Flamish was excited when he mentioned Rocksmith.
It's
you know what's sad? During the Rocksmith thing, I fell asleep and I woke up after the show.
Oh damn! But you see, you work very hard. You did a long bid, so maybe it wasn't the show. Maybe it was fatigue, honest fatigue.
I'm gonna say it's the show.
Oh damn, disrespectful.
Luckily, I managed to stay awake throughout it, but nothing really rang. Nothing shouted, "Oh, look at this! This is brilliant." I did like the look of that. It's so good. I forgot its bloody name. The Riders one, where there's loads of people riding. Stuff.
Yes,
But
I'm all in.
That's because I co-host a game night, and immediately I thought I could get all my friends in. Other than that, yeah, it was okay. The pacing was good. Nothing really to write home about. I wasn't really impressed with the new version of Rainbow Six.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah."
It was okay. It was
Oh,
okay. I liked it. I do like Siege, but it's like they've. I do believe that was some DLC for Siege at some point.
No.
They've
I
taken
explained
it
that.
out.
I explained that live today because they had an event similar to that, and the people loved it. Yo, I played it until it ended, and when it ended, I thought it was permanent. Then it was a timed event, and I'm pretty sure with the reception that they got from that mode, this game came along. I'm pretty sure.
Fine.
I'm pretty
Which
sure.
is fine.
Right.
Which is all good. But you've just all they've done is extended the DLC that they've already done. That's
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
understand. I understand that with game development, everything's delayed and things like that, and
Right.
it's difficult to get massive IPs out there. I was quite happy with the fact that they are continuing their Assassin's Creed support for another year.
That's amazing.
That's good. That's
That was
really good.
amazing. Right.
Yeah, because normally, like they said in the video themselves, they launch it. That's it. They're finished.
Well,
So
they
to
hit
get
you with some content, but
support
not
Yeah.
into the next year because remember
Yeah.
they switched up from making that game annually to every 2 years or 2.5. So now instead of just skipping the year and a half after the 1, well, really the 2 years it's been out, 2.5 years. Instead of just making a whole new game, at least you got more life for a year later in a game that you like. So I thought that was awesome.
And the problem is, it's a game I've not played yet. It's on the backlog. I own it. I've not played it yet, so it looks like I'm gonna have to play it even longer when I do play it.
Yeah,
That's probably a good thing. It's gone from 120 hours to probably 240 with all the
games
DLC.
like that
going
got
on.
legs. That game got legs, man. They got longevity in mind.
So the support for that is amazing. But
Yeah.
as for a score, it wasn't boring. I can't give it a low score.
Right. It really was all right.
A nice middle 5, I think. Because I
Damn.
wasn't excited about
That's a
much.
low score in America.
Uh,
Maybe you meant a 7.
no.
That's about average. Damn, 50-50,
about-
huh? Okay. Addict,
the
talk
road.
to me.
I was joking about that. Look, I saw some of it, and I went back and like glimpsed through the rest that I
Yeah,
fell
tell us what you
asleep on.
remember.
I mean, I remember the quarantine, which I think they opened it up with that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember waking up to the Mario one, and then going right back to sleep because I realized that was Mario. Like I went back and I looked at the announcements. Like they had a solid show. Like obviously they have stuff here I don't care about, like Just Dance 2022. I probably would have fell asleep through that one too, to be real with you. North Star, people love that. They also have something called Riders Republic. That looks interesting.
That's the one with the bikes and the wings.
Yeah,
that looked awesome.
So I mean, I can't say they had a bad show. And apparently they ended with an Avatar game. So like,
whoa.
Yeah, so obviously they had a great, I would say, like, as far as the stuff that I would care about, they had like a 7, 8 out of 10 show.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.5.
And so, I can honestly say that the show looked solid. It didn't look bad.
Yeah, okay, I can go with that. PK, I know you said it earlier, man, but maybe you have some rethoughts because I know, sometimes you get the bells and whistles rolling and maybe you change your mind. What impressed you, my brother?
So I would just say that I got first of all, I'm all disappointed there was no Rayman Splinter Cell, okay? But overall their presentation was great, right? They showed gameplay, their transition was nice. They did not have those slow moments. They just kept it
pushing, right?
So I felt in general that it was a good show. There was games, of course, that I'm not interested in, but overall that doesn't matter as much. It's more like how do they keep the people that are interested in games excited? So
Right.
I feel like, you know, the Rainbows Six was very interesting, even though it seemed like a Gears impression. But
And Left 4
uh,
Dead. That's where they get that genre from.
Leopard, I'm just saying, for some of the creatures and
Right.
how,
Facts. You know what I yelled out when I seen
it
that
definitely
monster?
was influenced by other
A
games.
Reaper.
But
That's a Reaper.
the point is, it is a spin and it is something new.
Right.
And for fans that are fans of that series, would definitely want to give that a shot. It doesn't look like it would be a bad game. I'm not really interested in all the other games, but again, the people who are, that is great news.
Right.
I have Mario Rabbids on Switch. I bought it 3 times. It is a fantastic game. One of the best games on Switch. If you haven't played, it's amazing. So I think the people and because of the success of the first one, this is probably how he's getting a sequel. But for those who have not, trust me when I tell you, the game is fun. I know it's Mario, but it's a very well for it to be a third party game. It is very high quality. It's really good, really fun. It's got a good sense of humor. So I'm not surprised to seeing that. So it is a pickup for sure. So
Okay.
I don't
What
think
about
they
that
did
Avatar?
a bad show in general. I think they did pretty solid around the world. So I gave them like an 8 and an 8.5 because I think overall the presentation, the flow, whether I care about the games or not, they were doing everything right. They was hitting the check marks. So
Right.
can't give a
Because
negative for that.
at the end of the day, they got the pacing right. They got the good announcements.
Right.
It's just subjective if you like the announcements. And
Right.
they had a solid show. It's just maybe the contents wasn't for everyone.
I mean, content, every show ain't for everybody. I mean,
right, and that's kind of my point.
But it didn't bore me. You know what I'm saying? But
majority of it wasn't for me.
That
doesn't mean that I'm gonna hit them bad because, technically I should hit them bad because there's no Splinter Cell, right? But
you should
that's
hit
anticipation. You can't get mad at them for anticipation.
Now, don't let this man tell you what you can't be hyped for. You expected that at Ubisoft. You demanded that.
But we got one more chance, Addict. We got one tomorrow. We got one more chance.
About it, but overall, I think they did a good job delivering their presentation and what they wanted to do. When I seen the numbers, and it looked like there was more people watching this time around than any other Ubisoft conference.
That's a fact.
So I think overall they did attract people to stay and watch rather than click off. So
okay,
that means something, right?
I'm gonna take a point off for the Rocksmith thing.
But you see what I'm saying? I didn't know what that was, but they explained to me people with real guitars use that.
I don't even know how like it works. I was sitting there looking at this. It might as well look like Spanish or something, man. I can't speak a lick of anything.
I told Flamish that looked like Vegas Pro to me. Like, so I was like, I ain't doing that. But it was for real people trying to learn how to play a guitar for real.
I'm just like, do you attach it to your guitar? Does it listen to it? Like,
I thought it had a special pick and it was wireless. I didn't know. It's like, is the pick wireless? Like, how does it know what you're doing? But whatever. Listen, it ain't for me. But I think it was an overall good show. Ubisoft is definitely always a hit or miss. It's definitely one of them shows I go, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying?
One thing you can give Ubisoft, they're a very diverse company. Like,
yeah, they had
they're not trying
variety,
to get
man.
They're not trying to just get one person. They're trying to get as many people as they possibly can. And us as gamers can't say we want new IPs because we're always saying Microsoft, why aren't you making more newer IPs? Sony, why aren't you making more new IPs? Like Ubisoft be making 2 or 3 a year.
That's a fact. Excuse me, but I just thought the pacing was done well. The people that was trying to talk about their game looked like they was enthused about talking about their game.
Right.
Unlike the Amazon presentation.
Right. I was like they was a part of it.
Are you selling me the game or you trying to make me not buy this? But I think they did a good job with the presentation. Avatar, I'm in. The bicycle flight suit game, I can't think of the name. I'm in. Anything Rainbow Six that looks like Rainbow Six, I'm in. So, and I gave it an 8.5 because I don't like their press conferences. As I always said, this time around, Microsoft should have a way better press conference because Bethesda's the best. Being at both of them conferences, they're the best. Live and watching it.
At this point,
they're the best. They're the best.
If we
Yeah.
At this point, when we start watching these like comparisons, like all obviously we content creators, we're gonna compare the suckers after it,
right?
Like because obviously I don't know what Xbox is right now. I don't know how they're gonna present it. Like, for the love of God,
so
Microsoft has a home run. Like please don't drop the ball.
Let Bethesda's producers take over. You tell them what you want to show and let them do it their way. Because Bethesda's serious with their presentation. We talking about fireworks inside the building, bright lights, boom, big explosion. I was sitting in there like, yo, we're in a movie. Like, this is crazy.
It is like when it comes to like, because they have theirs in like a crazy theater. Like it's not like a regular theater. And like they do a really good job. Like, sure, sometimes you're not going to like everything they have, but they're more of a, we're going to appeal to our audience, and we don't care if you've seen The Elder Scrolls Online 18 times, you're going to see it a 20th time. Like,
facts.
It's like, because we still have an audience that we've built, and we got to serve them regardless if you like it or not.
Yeah, that's a fact. All right, fellas, we're going to get out of here. People in the chat, man, absolutely amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause, man. It's greatly appreciated. Y'all showed up once again for another podcast. Doubling up. Tomorrow's going to probably be another double up day, man. But it's greatly appreciated to have all my gaming community here retweeting, liking and subscribing, and sharing this video out. Y'all are absolutely amazing. Without you, there's no us, man. And we're going to get into these outros. Animated. Will I see you tomorrow on the Flamish Experience on the late edition? That's what he's talking about tomorrow. Where can he find you?
You might find me tomorrow on the Flamish Experience. I've got another show as well tomorrow, so I'll be doubling up tomorrow by the sound of it. I do a couple of shows. You can find me on the Flamish Experience, Midweek Gaming, and over at 4GQ TV. The best way to get hold of me, or at least find out what I'm up to, is find me on Twitter, animated_evil. All my details are there.
Okay.
I co-host a community game night on a Friday and Saturday. Again, get me on Twitter. You'll find out all my Xbox details. The more the merrier. Everyone's welcome to join.
And I've been meaning to tell you that, man. What's up with some Battlefield 4? You know what I'm saying? We need to team up again so I can lay a lot of your friends down. I had a good time doing that. Yeah.
I had a good time with you carrying me.
Oh no, you saying that they friends might have different ways.
One of them, I think it was Tush. He said, Lemon, when I get to you, I'm gonna shoot you and I'm teabagging you. I said, yeah, you can shoot me one time when I'm up like 13, 14 kills on you, but it's okay. And he did it too. And he posted it on Twitter, so I knew I was getting him good.
No, in Battlefield, man, that's not even the disrespect. The disrespect on Battlefield is taking your friend's dog tag.
Oh,
that's
no doubt. But but Addict, they didn't want to come close enough to play with me.
Nah, man,
they didn't want to play with me.
Tags.
They didn't want to play around. I was laying dude down by the hordes. But yeah, man.
I have to add before I go. Well, obviously, before we go, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight. Thank you for having me on.
Come on, man. Anytime, my brother. Anytime. I love you. I love podcasting with you. Got great energy. You're a great individual, man. You know I got your back all day, every day. Facts.
And as usual, PK. Great working with you, sir.
Forgot y'all 4GQ TV partners. I forgot about that. Crazy. And this man needs no introduction. He has his own world. I never met nobody that had their own world. But my man Addict, we talk behind the scenes. Him and Cognito always we chop it up. They help me with my content and vice versa, man. Good dudes. It's my brothers over there from IOP, man. And y'all already know how I give it up for them guys. And this dude, knowledge of gaming, the hardcore gaming he do. I mean, when he stream a game, he don't really talk to the chat, but he's focused. It's crazy when he streams. I always watch his
I
streams.
talk to the chat, but it's usually when I die.
You're right. You don't die too much.
And when I was playing, sometimes I do like 35-minute playthroughs, and like I've already missed like half the chat. But you know, I definitely appreciate the invite. It's nice meeting you guys. PK got me realizing I need to update my background stuff because that's just crazy. So I'm gonna definitely work on that. I'm gonna get right on that. It definitely had good show you guys got going on here, man. I hope you guys nothing but the best growth. If you want to catch more of me, definitely follow me on Twitter at LordAddictIOP. You can also catch me every Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Iron Lords podcast. Cool. And you know, hopefully tomorrow, man, we'll have a good Xbox showing, and there'll be nothing but great positive stuff to talk about Xbox for the next week.
From what I heard, it's gonna you're gonna fall out of your chair.
Yeah, that's what I've been told too.
Yeah, I've been told the same thing, but I didn't want to be told what it was.
Sometimes I fall out of my chair, and it has nothing to do with being a great show. So I got to see exactly what they're gonna do. But I'm very what's where I'm looking for? Hopeful this year. I feel like people that normally would tell me addict, tone it down, are not telling me that this year. So we'll see.
Pete Kinsel, the most electrifying YouTuber that got his background that matches chair. What's good with you? Let them know where they can find you tomorrow, because we're going to be lit.
Yeah, so for sure, you know, apparently I'm going to be on Dragon's Den. We're going to be streaming the Xbox event. You know, you guys can definitely come back and check me out every Thursday on 4GQ TV. We also do some interviews. We got one coming out for Mike Coulter, and we're looking for, you know, the Punisher as well. We're looking to do a little bit more Marvel stuff, but out of nowhere, we're going to get more content creators definitely interviewed, and also, you know, here GRG every Friday and Dragon's Den every Saturday. Definitely keep an eye out on my channel. I do content as well. I talk about things even more than just gaming, because that's what PK Entertainment stands for, all entertainment. So that's what I get into, and definitely working on a new project. So keep your ear to the ground. We doing it, and doing it big.
Facts, man. And let me tell y'all something, man. Like I always say, without y'all, there's no me, man. It is greatly appreciated for y'all dudes and ladies to come out here and support my brand, support us, support all of us on this content movement, man. And yes, this is a big week for us, and what we do here in the presentation we bring, it's a lot of work. And it's for anybody to give you that thumbs up, or just say, yo, y'all doing a good job. We appreciate the 1 person to the 20th person. Doesn't even matter, man. It's greatly appreciated. But as I always say on 108 Dragons TV, bring your game and not your name. Facts. I see y'all in the next one, people. Stay safe and enjoy E3. Let's go!
See you on the other side, guys.